Hey internet, welcome to Zesty Narratives. I watch the films that you should avoid, summarize them into short zesty narratives, so you don't have to watch them. Today we're adding some zest to Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Extended version because I really hate myself. The film opens with some nonsensical narration, followed by running, slow motion, then more running. The name Martha is mentioned, and unfortunately for all of us, it is mentioned again later to nauseating effect. A boy falls down a well, but Lassie is too damn old to save him, so some bats show up instead. The boy levitates or something, and we're off to the races. Batfleck, sporting his business casual batsuit, springs into action as Metropolis is being destroyed. The film cuts away for a few minutes to show us a stellar ad of the Jeep Renegade, before returning for some much needed explosions and choppy editing. Buildings steadily top over, but that Jeep Renegade just keeps on trucking. Batfleck shows some badassery by running headlong towards the falling Wayne Tower, sees a horse, gets confused, and keeps running. Batfleck single-handedly saves everyone, then looks up towards the sky menacingly and patriotically pins an entire disaster on illegal aliens. Fast forward 18 months and we're somewhere in the Indian Ocean. A rock is found, a man breaks it open with an axe, and finds the decomposing remains of the Green Lantern film franchise. We suddenly find ourselves in Nairobi, where we're introduced to a man named Jimmy. He enjoys a refreshing Coke Zero, meets Lois Lane, has his camera broken by some bullies, then suddenly comes down with a case of bullet to the head. Lois is captured and appears to be in hot soup, but Superman shows up to save the day as always. We suddenly find ourselves in a courtroom where a woman narcs on Soups for something I didn't quite make out. Senator Finch steals a line from Dr. Ian Malcolm, and I doze off for the first time. We hear some bad action off in the distance. We think we're going to see it, but in actuality, we're just there to see that Batman has taken up the art of body branding. Soups isn't into that sort of body augmentation, declares Batman as his enemy, and then jumps into a bathtub with his clothes on, naturally. Batfleck, brooding as always, reiterates his Republican views on illegal immigrants and decides to form a one-man lynching party. We're finally introduced to the main villain, Lex Luthor, who hits a three-pointer like James Harden. He then shows Senator Finch a tiny piece of the Green Lantern film franchise, and she says that she's seen enough and won't allow more. Lex still manages to gain access to the Kryptonian ship, peels back a fingerprint or two, awkwardly feeds a man some candy, and licks his fingers thusly for a job well done. We're treated to a shot of the fakest eggs ever put to film, while Soups watches the news broadcast and attempts to show emotion. A man makes a bomb, climbs an oversized Superman statue, paints a few lines, then gets arrested. Perry White throws out some cliche headlines, and the film is officially stalled. Some unimportant things happen, including a boat ride, bat-themed scratchers, a rapidly edited boxing match, and some identity theft, before we're back to the nothing that is the Daily Planet newsroom. Lois found a bullet, learned it's some type of prototype, and receives permission to fly to Coruscant to have Dex take a look at it. There's a scene about peach tea or something I don't know. There's a glimpse of a far better backstory behind a glass case. We catch some badass. Then it's time for Batfleck and Soups to crash Lex Luthor's party. Gal Gadot also crashes the party, but when you look like Gal Gadot, no one really cares. Soups does some things and some stuff that aren't particularly important, and I can't believe we're an hour into Batman v Superman and we barely seen any Batman or Superman. Lex taunts an emotionally unstable man with puns. Lois propositions Commander Locke in a public restroom, and Perry White is perturbed his printed piece is missing his planned piece on pigskin. We cut to another party with Gal Gadot and Batfleck. They talk about ancient swords and military encryption, the preferred topic of conversation for all swanky parties. We return to the Batcave where Batfleck has a vision of Trump's America if he's elected for a second term. The Flash shows up, I think, it's not really clear, and we get some forced character motivation on all sides. Soups visits some inmates, Batfleck spouts some nonsense, we find a white Portuguese, get a rapidly cut car chase, some bad CGI, but certainly not the worst this film has to offer, and we're finally graced with Batman and Superman on the same screen at the same time in costume. I get excited that we're maybe gonna see what we came for, then check the runtime and see we're not even halfway done this turd sandwich. Lex finally gets his hands on what's left of the Green Lantern film franchise, and wisely places it behind a glass case to watch at a later time. Soups pays his adopted mother a visit, a woman attempts to get off a bus but realizes she's not at the right stop, Senator Finch catches up on some paperwork, Lois and Locke share a caramel macchiato by the Potomac, and I officially want to take that specially designed LexCorp bullet and blow my brains out. There's a court proceeding, Lois wants Perry to run an incredibly controversial story with only anonymous sources, Lex chooses more scenery, Soup shows up, people cheer, a woman is shoved in front of a train, pee in a mason jar is found on a desk, Senator Finch makes a face, the whole place goes kaploot. Soups attempts to emote once more and fails, but it's okay, Lois has all the emoting covered for the both of them. Soups flies away, Alfred chops the wood, and I pump the air because we've finally passed the 90-minute mark. Lex returns to LexCorp to show us some bad action via computer monitor that we don't get to see firsthand, and is later pleased that someone actually was dumb enough to take the Green Lantern film franchise off his hands. Lex climbs into a pool of ooze and talks to the ship, while Batfleck strikes the tire with a sledgehammer. We get a Rocky-style workout montage, Batfleck grunts in pain, then takes a minute to show us a trailer for a far better film in the DC Cinematic Universe. Lex climbs back into the ooze with the dead bod of Zod, cuts his hand, bleeds on Zod's face, then spouts some more insane nonsense. A whole bunch of nothing happens until I fall asleep. I think Soups made in a nukshuk with Lieutenant Dunbar on a mountaintop, but I honestly can't say for sure. Batfleck talks Wayne history, Martha Kent is kidnapped behind a diner by some dastardly devils, a bat signal is fired up, Lois is kidnapped too because 2 is always better than 1, and is used to lure Soup out for one final attempt to anger me before the main event. Lex spouts more nonsense, shows Soup some Polaroids, Soups is given the choice to go kill Batfleck or learn how to emote, he naturally chooses the former, and I scream in rage when the film hits the 2-hour mark and decides to show us more trailers from future DC films. Soups and Batfleck meet once more and are already on a first name basis. Soups misses the opportunity to say something along the lines of, hey, they kidnapped my mother, can you please help? And instead engages in fisticuffs to the man you should be able to rip down the seams like a tight pair of pants after a Thanksgiving Day meal. Batfleck came prepared though with a healthy dose of vaporized Green Lantern to even the score. The two punch each other a bit, Lois rushes to the scene, Batfleck pulls out some more sharpened Green Lantern, shows it to Soups who absolutely can't stomach the awful effects and proceeds to fall down. Batfleck is about to do in his would-be adversary when Soups shouts out, hey Batman, I actually really need you to help me save my mother, Lex has her, we cool? Batfleck nods and helps Soups up, they bro hug like two best buds, or at least that's the vision I saw when Soups shouted out his actual line with all the fervor of a constipated sailor, and I slipped out of the very fabric of existence itself. Lois shows up to explain Martha is Soups' mother's name too. Batfleck realizes Soups might be an alien, but he's also a human too, or something. The two kind of bro hug, I guess. Batfleck agrees to go save Martha, finally delivers some real badass that action, and the film is over. We watch Batman v Superman. It nearly killed me, but I got to the end. Wait, there's another 40 minutes left. Wait, you're telling me they dragged Doomsday into this shit pickle sandwich? Oh no, f that, I am out.